by the way, we have a 2017 board. Should actually wrap this and put it aside. The other 2015 board, we gave it to Kelvin. Okay, so yeah, so we have a 20. We have a MacBook Air, and it's an A1932. It says, what does it say? It says dead. So when it says dead, what it means, it's a no power. So mm, the first thing first, as you guys know, what we want to do is to define or be able to identify what state the device is in. That will help us to take the next step. So first thing first, we will take out the back cover. As you know, we do not put power through to our board until we are sure if it is safe to do so. It's always good to have a better picture of what's happening inside the device before you connect your charger. I mean, but that is only, I mean, if it's something that is unknown, for example, the idea of the device being dead, but if it's a situation of, say, for example, no display, no backlight, like if it's an issue other than the device being dead, that's I mean that's a different situation. But a situation where, I mean, a condition where the device, and then, for example, even if it says, even if it's, especially if the device is liquid damage, even if it says it's a no backlight, for example, so you sometimes have liquid damage devices, but they're still working. So even in that state, until you're sure of exactly what the board looks like inside, it's always better to not connect your charger to it until you have a better idea. Okay, the back cover is out, and then we see that the battery has been disconnected. Why that is, we're not sure. So now we can see that we do not have signs of liquid inside, so it doesn't look like the device it's liquid damage. So the next thing we want to do now is to connect our charger. This is a 2018, 2019 MacBook Air, the redesign from 2016, 2017. Okay, the fan tried to spin. Let's see, do we have something on the screen? And yes, we have something on the screen. Okay. Okay. The machine came on for a second and then died again. So just to confirm, so we did check that we have yeah, we do have PP voltage, which is 12.8, and the board seemed to be a little warm as well by the section of the T2 chip. Uh, Okay, so let us immediately we connected the charger. We found the fan disconnected. Immediately, the battery disconnected. Immediately we connected the charger. The machine came on, but then and then immediately went back off. We tried to switch it back on. There is no trackpad feedback, and there's nothing. The device is basically not turning on. Okay, so let's take out the board. First and first, let's make sure the battery is disconnected. Let's take out the board to get to understand what's happening. And then it also seems like the device is making its way into SO state. Let's take the board out, and then we can get a better understanding as to what is happening. So and then another thing is that when I'm working on MacBook Airs like this one, so I do not take the cable out since I'll be needing a DC jack on the board while the board is out. So I take out the screws from the DC jack so that the DC jack will stay on the board. So I do not remove the DC jack from the board. Yeah. And then something else I also wanted to mention regarding this particular design. So if you are working in this section of the board, be aware that the Touch ID cable is underneath the IO board cable. So if, for example, you want to, I'm just going to show you guys something. Say if you are intending to take out, if you're intending to replace, for example, the audio board, just know that underneath this cable is the Touch ID, which is that. You don't want to. So if you just rip it out, you may break the touch ID, and that will put you in so much trouble because the touch ID is tied to the board, and if you break it, even if you replace the touch ID, you will get other functions like you get other functions to power the machine on, to power the machine off, to wake the machine up from sleep, but you will not get the function of being able to unlock the device with your thumb or with your finger with a fingerprint. So just be aware of that. So if you intending, if for any reason you have to work in this section of the board, just know that the trackpad, the touch ID cable is underneath, and it's almost like it's hidden away. Now something else. So you can replace the IO board, the audio board itself. That is fine. The audio board, so the sensor, the fingerprint sensor is not tied to the audio board. So you can replace the audio board to touch ID. The touch ID sensor is still going to work. So the audio board is just a pathway to the board, basically. So it's not like the touch ID is paired to the audio board. No, it's paired directly to the board. However, so it's just that because of the design, the audio board serves as a means of communication between between the cable and the logic board itself. It's not like it's tied to the IO board. You understand? So you can replace the IO board and you will still get your touch ID will still be fine. So that's just something that I think is worth mentioning. And then another thing also you may notice it's with these models as well. You may the fan, especially with newer machines, do not expect the fan to behave like the older machines where the fan is always on. So you may get the fan may just spin and then stop, and then the machine is fully functional. And when the CPU heats up really bad, or when the CPU, when the machine requires, when the machine is basically very hot, CPU, which is the heat that we generated from the CPU, then the fan will basically kick in to cool off the machine. But unlike the previous design where the fan, for example, like the 1466, the fan will be on from start to finish. So this may not behave like that. So in case you probably um, wonder why your fan is not working at all times, so this may not work all the time. So you see, I basically leave the DC jack on the board because I need the DC jack to work on the board. Now we have the board open. Uh, okay, so let's test the board out to get a better idea as to what's happening. We have a bit of corrosion on the board, which is here. We have a bit of corrosion there. Let's see what that is. Okay, we have a similar board here. Let's open up the board view and get an idea what that section of the board is. So this is the board view. The board number is 820-01521. So let's see. Let's flip to the other side of the board. Mm, this board seems a little different from this. Okay, so let's confirm something. Let's see if this is a 2019. Let's take out the heatsink. The board ID will be most likely covered by the heatsink. Oh, okay. No, it's actually on the side. It's not. So yeah, it's a 2018, but it's not a 2019 because the upgrades to this ones will have uh, they will have the board number underneath the heatsink. So this one it's definitely 2018, but I don't see that section on the board. Just check again. So this is the board ID, the board number, which is 820-01521, which is exactly what we have, 01521. And then on the other side of the board, where this is where we have corrosion. Mm, it looks different. It looks different. And what are you? Hmm, it's an SSD. Okay, okay, let's try to clean up that section of the board. See what's happening. Okay, that seems to be the only component we see that's corroded. Let's replace that and try again.
Stationary, it's not strong.
Is it?
Yeah, to check out the components. I was trying to check out the SLC.
Okay. So we see that one of the pad of that chip. So here we have to be careful because we have one of the NAND here. We'll try to place something here to avoid heat while going to this area. So we see that one of the pad. So this pad here is yeah, that pad is definitely not in good state. Okay, let's try to. get another board to transfer. Let's apply solder. That way it's easier for us to replace the component. Okay, let's put back. Let's try to place something on top of the SSD chip so we do not so we don't damage it. Okay, that's installed. We can remove this.
And the page you were saying it wasn't working.
Say again?
Page you were saying it's working.
No, I have done it.
Oh,
Let's clean that up. Okay, so you guys can see the so that it's the chip that was replaced, and see our work area looks really good. So that's usually how we like to make our work area look good. So then the next thing we want to check to see if there is any other section of the board that has corrosion. Let's just do another quick check. Okay, that seemed to be the only section of the board that's corroded, and that seems to be the only component that is corroded on the board. Uh, let's now check again to see if we have a different behavior from the board. Initially, when we started the board, when we connected our charger, the machine went on and then immediately went back off. We tried to switch it back on, the machine wouldn't go on. But then when we measured for voltage and signals, we did confirm that the machine is making its way partially into SO state, and the section of the T2 was also getting warm. But that was it. The machine was not really starting. So we had to take out the board to find out why. We found the component that seemingly was damaged by liquid. We replaced it. One of the pad was not looking good, so we replaced it, and we then had to do another close inspection to see if there's any other section on the board that's affected, and we couldn't find any. So we cleaned our area, and now we want to test to see if we have a working board or if we have to do additional work. I'm putting the machine together because I feel like that's the only section of the board that needs to be attended to. Uh, Sometimes that's not the case, then we have to take the board out again. Yeah. So um, it's, if that's not the case, we can always still take the board out, not a problem. Another very important thing is when you are, especially if this is if it's your first time to work on these devices, always try to take note of the screws and how they are placed, where they are placed. So you do not. I mean, the more you work on a device, the more you should try to familiarize yourself with the positions of the screws. And then, as you guys will notice, the battery is usually the first cable to be disconnected while you're working on the board, or the first disconnections to make while working on the board, and it's the last to come to the board. Everything else, make sure everything else is put back before. And then the last part of it is obviously going to be the battery. You don't want to have the battery on while you are working on the board. You don't want to make such a mistake. So you always make sure that the first thing that you remove or you disconnect from the machine after after you have the back cover out of the machine, it's the battery, and let it be the last thing that gets back on the board. Okay, let's see if we have a working machine, or we have to again take the board out. Let's connect our charger. Okay, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Like I said, so the fan will start and then stop, and then wait for the CPU to get really warm before, and then it's gonna kick in again. So let's see if we have a working machine. Okay, that's it. The machine is started. Let's try to restart the machine. Okay, let's shut the machine down and then power it on again. So wait, let's try to shut it down, power it back on. Let's try to power it back on. Is it coming on? Okay, yes, the machine is coming on. Yeah, so initially what will happen is, the first time what happened was immediately we connected the charge and the machine did boot to desktop, but immediately it booted to desktop, the machine went back off. Tried to switch on the machine wouldn't power on. So what we had to do, as you guys saw, was to basically disassemble the machine, find out what the issue was. We spotted a section on the board that was damaged, that was affected by liquid. There was a particular component there. We couldn't find that component on the board view for some reason. So we did find that one of the pin of the component was badly affected. So we removed the component, we cleaned out the parts, we reapplied solder, and then we replaced the component, and then after which we had to put. But then we just had to put the board back, even though we yet to test it. But then the reason why why we were kind of confident in doing so was because we looked through the board, and that was the only section of the board that was affected. So we decided, okay, yeah, and then plus another thing also was because it was a secondary critical section of the board in terms of the rails. When we measured, we could find that we measured, we found that some of the SO rails were present on the board, which suggests that the board was actually partially starting, but then was just not completing its boot process because of the issue that the board has detected. So as you guys can see, this is a completed repair. I'm just going to put back the back screws, and then this can go through the standard test. And yeah, that's it. That's the that's a completed repair. So we again have to leave the machine on for a bit for you guys to see. So the machine is definitely not behaving the way it was behaving before, and you guys can also see that we can switch the machine on and also switch it off, and yeah, without any worry. Just something else. So you see, with this particular MacBook Air design, these screws get confusing, yeah, because there are four long screws and then the other ones are all short. So you have to know which ones go to the middle. So the long, is it the ones with, is it the ones? I'm just gonna place them side by side. So Peter, which one goes to the middle? Because you have two here, and then two here. Which one goes to the middle here?
The longer ones,
This one's, yeah. This one's here or here?
they on the edges.
On the edges. No, this comes here. So I'm just gonna show you something. So this come here, uh, which is basically the longest, and then this come here. So what happens sometimes, you find that people place this ones here, and then you get a small bulge here from the other side of the machine.
So
Yeah, that is the mistake. That so when you use this one here, that's what happens. And then what you don't notice is you unconsciously try to make it tighter, and then what happens? You just get a small bulge at the other side. Yes. So they look very much the same thing, but the longest are what stays in the middle.
yeah.
And then
Usually I feel it when I'm doing
and
when
then
I'm
you
closing
keep
the screw.
moving it.
Then I remove it.
No, Peter, don't tell me you're the one that have been
No.
Peter. Eh. So you see the look, you may just like, okay, yeah, they're just all long, so it's fine. I can just know. The longest will stay in the middle,
Yeah.
while the ones that, I mean, because they're just four long ones. So two, the less, and then the longest they stay in the middle, and
So
that.
that also makes sense because you can see from here, here it's a little bit lower.
Yeah, and then this,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. But if you are not conscious of it, you will just install. And then another, which is why I also keep saying that when you're doing repair, just try as much as you can to be conscious of what you're doing. Take note of smallest details. They'll really help you.
Get to know, understand the screws.
Yes, very very important. Very very important. Very very important. So let's just see again if our machine is starting before we finalize it. It makes sense that the machine would go onto sleep, and especially because we did not put in the password. So the wait period before you put in the password is a little short compared to the wait period the device will go on if you did put in your password to log in. Okay, we've got haptic feedback. Let's just wait for the machine to start. It's taking a little bit longer. Let's try to force it off and on. Okay. Now let's then something else we want to do. Let's just do a pyramid reset. Let's do a pyramid reset. Let's do a pyramid reset. For example, this machine, the one thing you will notice in the 2020 design is the keyboard. The keys will be slightly raised compared to the 2018s, and also the 2019s. Keyboards will be slightly raised. Hmm. Getting a slide. a bit of an unusual today, which is why we need to do the PRM. Let's see. Definitely need to do a PRM. Let's restart the device and then do a PRM. Okay, just restart it again just to be sure.
These new designs, when you do P and reset, it doesn't do like
The older designs, yeah, the firmware, the other ones, when you keep holding the keys,
the Apple logo goes on and off.
yeah, good, so, but this one, so then they allow you to only respond twice. Okay, let's just start it again. Disconnect. Okay, so let's just switch the device off for the last time, switch it back on. See. Okay, so that's a little bit faster than before. So yeah, we're not happy with the response time and powering on, so we had to do a pair and reset, and that's it. That's a completed repair. This is gonna go to the standard testing, and yeah, then go to a happy client. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.